Ready? This is fantastic news. This is fantastic news. Hello, everybody. Pardon me while I figure out how my desk works. How you all doing? It's been a while. I'm pretty stoked to be here. What is this? Why am I getting members only live stream? No. I want I want the gang. Come on now. Hello. Nice to see you. How do I pronounce your name? Nicht Gestalt? Nicht Gestalt? It looks German. Gestalt being, they talk about gestalts a lot in human computer interaction and like UI UX design literature, which is cool. Fantastic news. Fantastic news? Oh, fantastic news that things are working. That I'm live. Hello, hello. I it's strange. You can say Nick, and yes, it is German. Okay. Nick Gestalt. Very cool. Hello, hello. Have we spoken before? I feel like probably, right? I feel like I've seen your name around, but there are many new folks, and so I'm trying to keep everybody straight in my brain. How are you all doing? It's been a while. It's weird because to me, hold on, I'm just clipping a little bit, so I'm trying to get a good reasonable range from the microphone. I took last week off, which is the first time I've taken time off of the stream since I started streaming in August. It means something without a figure, like a skill or ability. I like that. I like that a lot. That's fun. That's not how I remember it being described in like the human computer interaction literature. Like the way that it was described to me was like very visual perception-y, right? Like they go from like the psychology of perception kind of way, and then they go like the gestalt is how this like non-form thing, like this formless set of things, is somehow still perceived as like a cohesive thing, which is very much, yeah, a thing without a figure, but very interesting. Cool. But yeah, anyways, it's been a long time since I took a little me time. And it was nice, but I missed you guys. So I figured I've started working part-time, and so I can start streaming a little earlier, and I've got more flexibility in my schedule. So I figured I'm bored. Why not say hi to the gang? So here we are, saying hi to the gang. A number of really exciting things have happened recently. Um, first off, first off, hmm. I'm sorry. I'm quite tired today, so I'm losing my train of thought as we go, but I'll do my best to find it again. Couple of exciting things. This is the last week of the 30-day cohorts, and I feel like I have learned a lot about the 30-day like digital minimalist cohort. Primarily that there needs to be more structure. I think it's a really good idea, but there needs to be some more structure. Hello, hello. Andrea Ruiz. Is that CA for like Canada or California or something like that? Andrea Ruiz? Ananthu? Hello, hello. Word by word, it goes like no figure. And it is a word play because there's the term Lichtgestalt, a figure of light or hope. I've read it in the German translation of the Book of Five Rings. Very cool. Thank you for welcoming me back. It's good to be back. Um, yeah, I hope running a little early. I'll try to still go till like 6, but we'll see how much energy I have. That would be a almost 4 hour stream. But we'll hang out. We'll hang out and we'll just chat and vibe. That's my second name. I'm Mexican but live in Seattle. Oh, interesting. Cool, cool, cool. So yes, as for exciting things, what has happened? The cohorts ran, and I think for the people who sort of managed to guide themselves through the entirety of the 30 days, I think it's been extremely beneficial. And so many of them have started writing in the Discord. I'll start sharing some articles. I think we're words. We're gonna create a channel for people to share their articles and things like that. I think that's really exciting because there's been some really great writing coming out of everybody. And that's exciting. I'm in Toronto, by the way, Mr. Man. Enjoy today. I have to go in a bit, but good luck. Vibe code your apps and self hosted and decentralized. Yes. Um, Andrea says, hey, thanks to you, I'm starting my de-Google journey, except YouTube. Oh, the Kubernetes IDE. Yes. Okay, wait, hold on. Um, that is something that I want to explore today. I want to see if I can, if hopefully there's like a Linux option. I saw a Kubernetes IDE. A friend of mine introduced me, and it's awesome because my Kubernetes cluster is kind of a mess and I haven't touched it in a while. And I would like some greater observability and discoverability of Kubernetes. So I'm looking forward to that. Hello, Alex, not the lion. How you doing? Uh, Anam, Anaman? Anaman. Hope your day's going well. Thanks for creating the content. It's inspiring. Thank you. Nick Gestalt says, anyways, really admire your work. I'm trying to declutter my digital footprint, and it was so cool that another hobby of mine, Linux, helps with that. I plan to build my own infrastructure like you. That's awesome. Thank you. I'm so excited to hear that. But yes, okay. The cohorts, they went really well for a handful of people who are like extremely committed to the idea and had like the time and energy to like commit themselves to that 30-day project. And what I learned was if you can stick to it, and this isn't a matter of like, I don't mean to be pitching this like this is a matter of diligence and willpower. It's like, no, this is a matter of your environment and circumstances as much as it is about your own motivational state and all sorts of things like that. So some folks were able to stick with it, and that's not a like an ethics or morals or value judgment, right? And so what I learned was we need to build some stuff to really start supporting people more along that journey. Like, funny enough, to keep their attention on the 30-day declutter consistently. And so my friend Nick and I have been building towards that, and we'll talk about that later. Essentially, as one of the projects in the digital minimalists Git organization, there we go, found the word. We started this fully open source, self-hostable web app for basically just guiding you through the process of the 30-day cohorts. And so the way we're going to work with that is it's going to be, again, fully open source, self-hostable. We're going to launch, hopefully, if we can get it all done, and we might work a bit on it today. We're going to get it all done and launch a test cohort in December. The idea being we're probably going to launch that one entirely for free. Again, you can self-host, so we'll talk a little bit about payments and things like that. But this cohort we're going to run entirely free, using the new web app to see how that sort of, let's call it scaffolding of the process of the 30-day cohorts works, and then hopefully run it monthly from that point onwards. And then include a pay what you can model, which would be cool. But of course, and I keep stating this, but I will continue to state this, it will be completely open source and self-hostable. So if you'd like to host the web app for yourself, or even for your own cohort that you would like to run, that's totally viable, totally doable. So that should be cool. What else we got in here? Alex, not the lion, says, genuine question. As someone who's explored other Linux distros, how do you feel about Omarchy? I've seen Linux veterans not liking it much. I feel like that's a really common stance about many distributions that are really wrappers of other distributions, by like Linux veterans who maybe are a touch elitist. I really like Omarchy. I like that many of the decisions and much of the building has been done for me. But I'll happily admit that Omarchy is not much more than Arch Linux. You know, like CachyOS, for example, has a lot of contributions on top of Arch Linux. It ships with a really nice set of kernel updates and configurations to make the desktop specifically experience much better. And then there's CachyOS's packages and all of that. Cachy is a distro. Omarchy is an installer for a set of configs, right? That's still valuable. It's just often perceived as not valuable if you're the kind of person who has been configuring your Linux distro from Arch or from Debian, one of those like tree root distros for so many years that you have your own configs and config management system and have had that for a decade or two, right? It's like, what is the point of like Lazy Vim or Astro Vim if I've been using NeoVim for 20 years, or if I've been using Vim for 20 years, I know how to configure it, I have it configured, it's perfect. I like this because I don't want to spend an entire weekend configuring Arch Linux and ending up with a system that is not quite as good. I like that those decisions have been made for me. That's the way I see it. What else we got? Hero Rareheart says, "Hey, I'm still struggling hard with my phone being a huge distraction, but I found starting to rip down varying distractions where I can where I can helpful." Yeah, it's an iterative process. It takes time and a lot of practice. Like as I've said a number of times, right? I've been working on this for 5, almost 6 years now, slowly cutting back and cutting back. This has been the most like intense cutback I've ever done. And it's finally sticking. Like I've tried to be this rigorous before, and by that I mean like I'm not watching YouTube videos. I sneak one or two in every now and then, but I'm not watching YouTube videos like during lunch or just to kill time, right? I'm like, it's much more intentional. I've cut out Netflix and TV in general and a bunch of other stuff. And this has been like the best iteration of this I've ever had. But yeah, it just takes time and practice. Lady Cucko says, "I'm so glad to have stumbled upon your channel. Years I've looked for solutions to stray away from the feed on my PC, but it always pulls me back." Ah, thank you. I'm glad that you stumbled upon my channel too. "My problem is not with an autoconfig, ball out. My problem is with the people behind its key components." Yes, that is another thing. There is significant problematic behavior from what I've seen in the Hyperland and Omarchy communities, and that is quite disheartening because I really quite like Omarchy, and it is disheartening to find out that like just unsavory things about those two communities. What else we got? Hello there. Hey, Jack Conrad. "Remove YouTube Shorts with Revanced." I haven't heard of Revanced. I'm using a couple of other ones. I use Undistracted and Unhook. Those are really nice. Hey, Tim, how's it going? "Garuda OS is a bit different there. It's like getting handed a Windows machine on top of Arch." That's an interesting way to pitch something. Huh. I will have to take a look at Garuda. That does sound cool. Okay. So, let's explore some of the interesting things happening. Let me also just make sure that my camera is in focus. I think I upped the... Yeah, so I'm in focus here. Yeah, we're chilling. I also forgot to shave. So I got this going on, which is something. Revanced is an option for sure. Unhook fits me a bit better. I don't know Revanced. Let's take a look. Is this the thing? Yeah. Okay. Revanced YouTuber. APK. Oh, this is interesting. Did it not render correctly, or is this on purpose ugly? Asking for a friend. I am, in fact, the Nick. It's true. Hello. It's amazing what breaking the "I'll just click the next one" cycle does. Yes, the autoplay features are one of those patterns that are really that's really pernicious. Let me just adjust my webcam as well because I'm super overblown right now. We'll go manual mode. Boom. That's a little better. It's a little more natural. And let's get that. Nice. You are very in focus in camera. Excellent. Thank you, Lucas. Amarchy is definitely more for newer Linux users. It seems like it was aimed more for the productivity community than experienced Linux wizards. Yes, I would more or less agree with that. Because like I find it fun to spend time configuring my tiling window manager, but at some point, like I've done that enough times and it's always a little bit fragile that I'm like, I just don't want to deal with that. I found that having a bunch of books or having crossword books from the dollar store, that's fun. Helps out with the need to scroll if you're trying to regain your attention. Yeah. The scroll zoomies. I love that as a term. CSS didn't load. All right, cool. It does really smell of productivity, people. Yes. Which is, I think, probably why it captured my attention. Because, like, I like to describe myself as a recovering productivity bro. Which is, if you saw my last video on the digital second brain and all that, I openly admit to being a recovering productivity bro, right? I did the time blocking and all that stuff. And so I still have this inclination in me. of productivity broness. Um, yeah, it still it still gets me. Hmm. By the way, I have a huge tip for anyone in my circumstances where your home life isn't great for you. Go to the library with your laptop, Steam Deck, etc. You can just do that and it'll free up your mind. Yeah, I love changing locations and to get something done, especially if like when you wake up with that brain fog and the day just kind of feels a little shitty right from the start, but you have to get something done, Um, popping by a cafe or the library in particular, because it's a free third space and that is a valuable thing. Um, Pretty sweet. I know, like here in Canada, our libraries and the Toronto Public Library is pretty great. Some of them more than others. But it is an untapped resource by so many people. The library rocks, and I don't have a library card. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to spend more time at the library. I will be working on that. What else we got? I use Revance just as basic alternative to the YouTube app. Oh, interesting. I've personally had a hard time with the alternative mobile versions of apps. Full dumb phone doesn't work for me at the moment. Yeah, the switch to the full dumb phone is hard. I haven't done it. I've dumbified my phone significantly, but like not having maps on my phone, and I am like directionally challenged. Like I don't know where anything is. I am very much like the stereotypical American who doesn't know where anything is on a map. Like I could not tell you where most things are, including within my own city. So that's something. Omarchi overall is pretty well tuned for developing a flow state. Yeah, I mean it is a tiling window manager configured fairly well with a launcher, a runner. And that's I like that. I like also not having a bunch of defaults is nice. So yeah, rest, sleep, and writing seems to help for me a lot. Yeah, agreed. The famed third place, indeed. Call out from Kitchener. Hell yeah. Chainer Seraphim. Cool name. Did you read Smart Notes by Zonke Aarons? Made me feel like notes are now a kind of unaidable task. What is that word? What does that mean? Unaidable. I haven't read it yet, but that sounds interesting. Should try Garuda OS. It's also for beginners, has custom built-in stuff to easy access to update buttons, etc. For maps, use OSM and get it from F-Droid. Yeah, one of these days I'll make the jump off of my iPhone, but I have no need to at the moment. Like, I don't want to buy a thing because I have a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to... I'm interested in trying out graphene and other things like that, but my iPhone is sufficiently stupid now that it's not sucking up my time. And so me investing more into phone solutions wouldn't do a lot for me. But yes, I am interested in the ecosystem still. For YouTube on your phone, I use NewPipe. Oh. Do you have any favorite books you can recommend? Oh, I have a lot of favorite books I can recommend. I have been reading this. Used pixels are pretty cheap for what it's worth. Oh, okay. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. I am broke right now. I am broke. Now that I'm working 3 days a week. So that cuts my income about in half. Now YouTube has made up a fairly significant portion, but I don't know how consistently that will be the case. Um, Anyways, all that said, it is I'm cutting back. I bought a lot of fun tech while I was on my like first full-time job kick after PhD. Um, and I have to rein myself in. Um, Logseek seems so cool, but I just bounced so hard. I haven't looked at Logseek. I liked Obsidian and Notion and Rome when I was like big into notes. I used Rome, and I really could have just used Obsidian, but I used Rome Research to do my master's thesis. Incredibly useful. Oh, right. I missed that question. About books. About books. What would be some of my favorite books? Oh, you know what? Okay. So here's a very commonly associated with Productivity Bros book that I thought was actually surprisingly good. I read The Power of Habit about a month ago, which in my head is like very much Productivity Bro nonsense. That was not the case. This was written by like a very competent, highly researched journalist who talked to a lot of really interesting scientists and people who have done very interesting things and sort of pulled it all together in a very good, succinct book. It's not meant to be a self-help book. It is really about how habits work, both as an individual and as a community or a corporation and things like that. But it ends with like, here's some useful tips for building or breaking down habits, which is really useful if you have a habit of checking your smartphone and things like that. Very good book. On the other end of the spectrum, I recently read. I did a bunch of reading, and I'm very excited about this. I finished Demons, which, for those of you who are like longtime viewers, know that I've been trying to read that book for a while. Finished that. Fantastic. And I followed it up with, I read The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. That was life changing. That was a life changing essay. And now, granted, I've been having like death anxiety. This is a weird thing to be talking about right now. Uh, but that that book was like extremely liberating for me. It's about 140 pages of, granted, fairly dense sort of like philosophy, but it was phenomenal. I'm looking forward to rereading it again. I love Zen, and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance is a personal favorite. Then of course there's Digital Minimalism, which one should read. How to Do Nothing is another good attention economy book. Those are some favorites. I also recently dove into Shakespeare, which is fun because I never did that. Aside from like in high school when they make you read Shakespeare, and I was just grumbly the whole time. I was just angry that I had to. Who's this old guy? Why do I have to read his books? Uh, I read Hamlet, and I read it twice. Well, I read it once with like the little modern English parts to so that I could understand what was happening, and then I'm reading it again about halfway through now. The second time, it is phenomenal. Now that I'm like I don't have to struggle as much with the language. The second time I'm like appreciating the language more, and that has been super fun. So yes, okay. Um, I've missed many chats, so let me take a look. Unattainable. Ah, okay, okay, okay. Yes, yeah, I agree with. So let me get this properly. Proposes the foundations of Zettelkasten. Second Brain might be a copy of that renamed. Second Brain is definitely Zettelkasten stuff. Like it is building on top of the Zettelkasten stuff and not even particularly well, in my opinion. Oh, cool. I'm working 3 days a week. I have my own business, but it's trade related. I'm trying to break into ComSci. Very cool. The funds are indeed lacking. Yeah, mood. Don't know what you and your audience usually reads, but I really enjoyed the poems of William Butler Yeats. The German translation is actually pretty good as well. I I don't know Yeats. He's on my list. Mostly from when I read or watched Dead Poets Society. I think Yeats comes up, but I've heard the name. That would be cool. We have a pretty diverse set of people, so if you're gonna throw books out, chances are somebody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I read that, and it was really good," or like have thoughts or opinions on it. So feel free to share whatever you got going on. Yeah, I plan not to change my phone until they fully break. Same with the Kindle. Yeah, that's fair. The book I just bought is some professionally printed MLP film fan fiction. I have some strange taste in reading. Fair. Atomic Habits is awesome as well. Yeah, see, I read Habits and I thought, okay, cool. I don't need to read Power of Habit because I read one Habits book. I'm good. I thought The Power of Habit was a much better book. I liked Atomic Habits and I think it's useful, but yeah, I was shocked at the quality. What was the book again? Demon was it? I think that was in relation when I was talking about Demons. Demons is a book by Dostoevsky. Um, Very interesting, like political commentary about 1860s Russian nihilists. Um, the Checklist Manifesto. Yes, I agree that it should have been a pamphlet, a blog, or an article. I read that like a long time ago, and I remember thinking to myself, Yeah, okay, I get it. Like, make checklists. It's shockingly useful and effective in mission critical situations and for regular people. I was like, why is this 300 pages? But yes, it was astonishing to see how effective checklists are. I should really start making checklists. I finally started, again, as a recovering productivity bro, right? I ditched to-do lists along like about 2 years ago because I was becoming just like a drone to my to-do lists. And so I've been kind of afraid of to-do lists for a long time. But I finally started back up with to-do lists, and I'm doing it all in paper, and I just list 3 things to do each day. And I figure if I get 2 out of 3, it's a good day, right? So that's been feeling kind of less oppressive, but still somewhat more organized. So I'm doing that. Power of habit. Hobby helps a lot, or in any case, replacing with something else. Yes. I'm reading Les Miserables to see if I can actually do a bigger book with intention, and it is actually great. Nice. That's awesome. Yes. Learning that I could read a big book, I feel so childish saying that. I too can read big book. But like also, I did not believe I could read big books. So, like you got to start somewhere, right? And the fact that I like conquered one of Dostoevsky's like 5 big novels really has given me some confidence uh, as a reader. I feel so juvenile talking about reading this way. Am I alone in this? Do other people like feel the need to build confidence about reading and and also feel juvenile about that? Because I feel childish as I say it, but I also know that that's what I needed to do, and I did it, and I'm proud of myself. Anyways, definitely a different. Wow, we have some cool readers in the chat. My life has fallen apart quite dramatically currently, so I'm trying to take control of something, and I'm finally attempting to do something with all the notes I've taken by starting a Zettelkasten. Well, I'm sorry to hear things are quite difficult, Chloe. That's unfortunate, and I hope things get better. I hope that you find something meaningful in your sort of Zettelkasten uh, task or project. Project is a better word for that. Yes, I hope you find some meaning in that, because that would be when things are tough. Anything that can bring us a little sense of meaning and a little sense of triumph can make a big difference. So yeah. Does manga count as a big book? It does if it's a lot. If it's a lot of pages, big book. Look, if it requires extended spans of attention, big book. Boom. Yes, The Power of Habit is Charles Duhigg. That's right. It's not 300 pages. Oh, most self-help concepts should be pamphlets or zines. Yeah, it's not 300 pages, but yes, it does a good job of showing how to make good checklists, which matters a lot. Yeah, I have this like I combat myself on this because like on one hand I often think to myself, oh, these productivity books could be pamphlets, like 30 pages and you're done. But on the other hand, the I think that's like a propositional knowing bias, right? It's like I have the fact, therefore I have the understanding, or therefore I understand. I'm trying to replace the word have here. Um, but like the anecdotes that often fill up the other 200 pages are useful for fostering perspectival and experiential knowing. You sort of gain the secondhand perspective by seeing how that proposition that was just given to you plays out in a real world scenario. So, you know, that's a thought. Do you carry a larger notebook or journal other than the field notes? So I carry my wallet. This is another small one. So my wallet has obviously my cards and things, but I keep like a little notebook in there, and then I keep this is my daily journal, which is an A5 size, you know, and that's for just like morning brain dump. And then I keep a B5 notebook for planning out code that I'm writing for work or YouTube videos or articles. Um, did you finish Dostoevsky? Congrats. Yes, I did. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to more Dostoevsky, or as I've taken to calling him, Dusty, because my dad loves nicknaming things, and I've adopted it. So I'm looking forward to Crime and Punishment, and then The Idiot should be fun. You are not alone, thank God. How do you read difficult books without feeling like it's all going over your head? Ah, that's the trick. I don't. I just let it go over my head. So here's my philosophy for reading right now. Um, I I I'm a recovering productivity bro. I'm also a recovering Philistine. I have no background in anything like cultured, quote unquote, you know? Um, and my assumption is if I read breadthwise first, because so much of like, and here's another term that's kind of weird, the Western canon is deeply self-referential. I just doubt I'm going to get anything on the first pass. So I just allow myself to not get it. You know, like I think about it, I try, but like if I don't get something, I just move on. I just move on. I just trudge forward and I'm like, I didn't get it. Oh well. And my hope is that if I do this for enough stuff within that canon, eventually 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 years from now, I'll come back and read these books, and with all of the context that I've developed over time, they'll be more meaningful to me. And that's already started to be the case. This was really fun for me, by the way. Um, so I read Demons. I'm not going to pretend that I understand the fuck. Excuse me. I try not to swear on stream. The the frickin' philosophical depths of Dostoevsky on the first pass as some like 27-year-old dude, right? Like, there's what are the chances that I just get it, right? I might get something though. Something might resonate. So I read. I just read through and I get what I get. And as I did that, I moved on to the myth of Sisyphus next. And lo and behold, Albert Camus references Kirillov, a character in Demons. And I'm like, for once in my life, I got the inside joke of the canon. And that was exhilarating, right? Like something made more sense because I had just chosen to trudge through and be okay with misunderstanding. And so I hope that in 5 years, if I reread The Myth of Sisyphus, by then, it will just make more sense because I've done the work. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. That's how I'm thinking about it. Okay, let me catch up on chat. I have to be careful because if I start reading and it's not absolute crap, I'm going to finish it rapidly. I do not have that problem, but that sounds to me like one of those interesting double-edged swords. Because on one hand, you could just devour information, and that would be cool. But on the other hand, I do understand when you get up from your chair kind of dizzy because oops, it's been 8 hours and you forgot to eat. I get that one. Um, I read about 70 books a year. Wow, but I'm terrified of big books, so I'm completely with you on that. Yeah, this is another thing. So I don't set numerical goals about how many books I read because I know that I will gamify this. If I say that I'm going to try to read as many books as possible, all of a sudden I'm just not going to read big books because I'm like, but I could read 4 books in the time it would take me to read this big book. And it's like, well, why do you want to read in the first place? It's not it's not to have read lots of books. It's to like glean some understanding or find some enjoyment or something like that, right? And so you want to read more books for that, but then you set the metric and then you start optimizing for the metric instead of the original goal. And I'm like, ah, shit. So, um, yeah, I for that reason I don't set number goals for books read. However, maybe a time goal would be more reasonable, like read 1 hour a day or something, that kind of thing. Almost 11 p.m. for you. Oh wow, wow. It is always so delightful when random German words drop. German words are kind of like a fascination for the Western, like the North American English speaking population. We love random German words. I think because of the compound nature of them, they're super fun and the specificity. Because I feel like English doesn't have a lot of like highly specific words. We just string sentences together instead. Whereas in German, from what I hear and understand, minimally, there are a lot of like really interesting niche specific compound words. There's nothing wrong with picking up your abilities where you left them off and finding them to feel stunted. There's nothing wrong with that, nor with being a child. Yeah, or nor with being childish. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Um, yes, educational books are massive. Another B5 enjoyer. Yes, B5 is fantastic. Oh, Lamy Safari, great, great little fountain pen. I love my fountain pens as well. Dusty is a great nickname. Nice. Regarding attention, I've been putting the macOS color filters on black and white and feels like a newspaper. I don't feel overstimulated and finding myself suddenly distracted on Instagram. Yes, black and white is like a well documented intervention that really does help with the attention economy stuff. So good on you. Wisdom and knowledge is built from years of context and experience. That's what I like to believe too. That's why I'm trying to build it. I mean, annotated works are very useful. Just check to make sure the annotator isn't known to be overtly biased. Yeah, good point. Good point. I see small businesses adapt systems that used to be for bigger ones, and with personal productivity, I feel like my life is becoming a business in a sense because there's so much data to be managed. Yes, yes, I agree with that, and that's why I don't like second brains for like individuals. I like them for projects and for work, like specific well projects and work. Um, because yeah, like I don't want to just read to accumulate highlights. I feel like also my video on the second brain stuff was somewhat misunderstood at times, which is my fault. I didn't express it properly. Um, I don't hate the notion of a second brain. I would do that again if I were writing a book or were writing a thesis or an academic paper. I don't like how if you don't have a project in mind and you adopt the second brain philosophy, it can change the way you look at reading and engaging with learning materials and art and make it about hoarding data to optimize for filling the brain as opposed to transforming your thought. That's what it is. I would definitely make an obsidian vault, capture the highlights from academic papers I'm reading, and do all that together if I were writing another academic paper. The second brain thing is not useless. Zettelkasten and stuff is not useless. That's not what I meant to say, and I apologize for. I pretty much said that. I pretty much said that, and that's not what I meant to say. So that was a mistake. Um, but yeah. Anyways, I don't remember how I got on that tangent, but yes. What else we got? Thank you for sharing your insight rereading difficult books. Oh, thank you. Um, Next year, my goal is to read 10 books to open myself up for big books, one of which will be Anna Karenina. Oh, very cool. I would love to get around to some Tolstoy. I have War and Peace. One day. One day. It's one day. Yeah. Well, anyways, I used to set goals for reading, but sort of took the fun out of reading and made it like homework. Yeah, I get it. I get what you mean. How I read. One, find things I like. Two, read them. This does a lot of my reading. This does lead to a lot of my reading being adult. Fair enough. What else we got? I read like Nathan's Partner for fun. Mostly shitty mysteries or sci-fi. Yes, yes. Um, my girlfriend does read these. She so being an academic and deep in some really cool research. Like I admire her and almost envy her for being the scientist that I wish I could have been. She's just brilliant. Just so cool to listen to her talk about the things she's researching. And so she reads a lot of really challenging books. And when she reads for leisure, it always makes me laugh because it's just like serial mystery novels that are not very good. And she'll like come to me and she's like, "Look how terrible this sentence is," and I'm like, "Yes, share with me the garbage." It's very funny. Um, yeah, I always recommend The Psychology of Money. I read that. Pretty good. Especially those thinking that they could never retire. I do see how it can sponsor optimization, but still relax and do what you can. Yeah, like, um, I think I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but here in Canada, many people my generation um, are just total doomers about finance, and I can't blame them, right? Like our housing market is insane. It's insane. And so I understand why people are pessimistic about any sort of finance management, but I also believe that you have to do something. Like you can't take the full defeatist doomerist like, approach because it leads to nothing. You have to try a little bit. Um, I'm not saying your goals shouldn't be contextually sensitive, right? Like if it is the case that like owning a home is never going to be viable given your financial circumstances, that I'm not going to make a moral claim about that. However, some amount of saving, if it's possible, you know, if you're not like super paycheck to paycheck, is a good idea. You know, and The Psychology of Money is a decent book for getting you sort of started with that. I have exceptional reading retention as well, reading adult novels by first grade, that kind of thing. Wow, impressive. I love sci-fi. By the way, how's your learning Russian journey going? Slowly. I basically just, whenever I hang out with my girlfriend's family, um, they say Russian phrases every now and then in conversation to me and explain them to me, and we just go back and forth this way. Um, I but I've also just learned like a bunch of ridiculous phrases. Like I never learned how to ask to go to the bathroom or something, but instead I have like ne ne be which means don't beat me, or ne обижает, which means don't bully me, and stuff like that. Um, or like зачем издевается, если любишь, which means like why are you beating me if you love me? Those are the phrases I've learned. About attention economy wiki. Is it something like Lewis Rossman's consumers rights wiki? That's where we're planning on going. Same kind of vibe, yeah. Change of mind. The hoarding mentality is pretty dangerous. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you for clarifying. For getting me. For me, I get really overwhelmed with information unless I get out of it and write it down. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Like, I'm not saying don't process information or don't capture ideas, right? I just it's this like, it's the situation where we can over optimize for the wrong thing. We want to be learning. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Bro, trust not all Russians manage to read Tolstoy, especially funny since we have it in our school program, but majority of people just can't read it really. I also hear that reading it in Russian is harder. I've heard like Russian grammar is extremely difficult, which leads to like Russian reading, especially the classics, to be extremely difficult. But I don't know much about that. Do you have any advice on how to get from thinking into doing? I now plan my personal website for like 2 months, and because the concept of it is not fully finished, I just can't get into coding it. There needs to be an acceptance that it will suck. This is step one. Like, accept that this is not your magnum opus. This is not the greatest piece of work that you will ever produce. You will have a version 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and you may scrap entire massive sections of it. And that's fine. So knowing that this is an iterative process of like successive pieces of crap that suck less and less, I use that language because I find it funny. Obviously, you're not going to build a complete piece of crap. You know, I trust that you have skills and all of that. I just like this phrasing. It feels fun to me. You'll have this like succession of things improving, 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 but never being perfect. So accepting draft 1 will suck. That's how you get doing. Those are my thoughts. That's how I made my first, like, that's how I made the YouTube channel. I just had to accept that my first video was going to suck. I wasn't going to edit it, and I just uploaded. And that video is not good. You know? And even today, like, even as I make videos today, a year later, I don't like my videos. I like parts of them, but I see constantly like, oh, here's where I could have improved. Here's a cut that was awkward. Here's a part where I tumbled over my speech and things like that. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. That's, yeah. Mhm. You're earlier than usual. Yes, I'm working only 3 days a week, and I was bored, and I missed you all, so I figured I'd hop on and say hello. So hello. Uh, oh wow, chat is really going. That's story. I love to have a boyfriend light about the things I do like that. I had this down for 1 p.m. Yes, it usually is 4 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, we also have daylight savings, so only God knows how this now translates to the rest of the world's time zones. I hate daylight savings. It makes no sense. But anyways, um, I feel so home right now. Book nerds, Linux, self-hosting nerds, and fountain pens. It's all like this comes together now. Now, also, you play guitar. I learned piano since April. That's super exciting. Yeah, I was very surprised about how much this community overlaps in their interests, because when you start making content TM, you know? People are like, you need to know your niche. You don't break out of your niche. If you generalist channels don't succeed. And then I show up and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do Linux stuff. And then one day I'm like, well, let's talk about attention. And everybody goes, I love this. And I'm like, okay. And then I start talking about books because I start talking about attention. And everybody goes, I'm also this like very interesting, intrigued reader. And I'm like, okay, great. And like it just keeps happening that this community has this a ton of overlaps, and it makes it so much more fun. Like I can just hang out instead of feeling like I need to make content. So yes, you're more than welcome. Okay, I'm just gonna jump forward because I'm way behind on chat. Um, okay, if what do we got? Hello, 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 Pixon. How's it going? I read daily, almost always fiction, so light novels that have 3,000 plus chapters are normal for me. Cool. Um, Russian sounds so cool. It is a fun language to learn. That happens to my husband. I speak Spanish, and he knows how to say the randomest phrases. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So luckily, as a Canadian, this is in response to Int Maps talking about Russian grammar and War and Peace. Luckily, as a Canadian, I can read French to a basic level. So those passages are fine for me. And then the translation to English that I have is pretty good. The hardest part as a non-native Russian speaker is that everybody has various names. So like one character is referred to by first name last name, and then other times first name patronymic, and then other times a character named Daria might be referred to as Dasha, and you're just like, hold on. So like Daria Pavlovna is also like also another name, also like Daria Verkonvensky, and also Dasha, and you're like, what? Now that has clicked in my brain and I'm making the maps. But oh, the first half of Demons was brutal because I just didn't know who anyone was. Hmm. What else we got? To the point of sucking, I'm a 20-year veteran in programming. I've already rewritten my current to I'm working on about 5 times from scratch, trying to hone the idea and get where I'm going. Yes, the iterative design process is natural. It's normal, right? You need to see it in front of you to know what it's like, how it's going to work. You can't fully conceptualize something. You need to see it on the page. You need to see it on the screen. And so building shitty prototypes is how it goes. You mentioned getting free of things like games. They keep me at my desk and unproductive instead of third spaces, but they've been so core, I don't know how to pivot. Hmm. I'm in tech at uni, so basically all my life is in front of some kind of computer. Yeah, I get that. So before I engage with this topic, I want to make a disclaimer because I've had some comments that go kind of weird of you to not include video games as like an art form that you can engage with healthfully, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't mean to say that, right? Like I didn't mean for that. I didn't mean that. Um, I There are video games I love. I think like The Witcher Three's Red Baron quest. That was a piece of art. That was good stuff. You know, Hollow Knight Silksong, amazing game. Um, so I don't mean to say that like video games are something that need to be escaped from by everybody or never have any value. That's not at all what I think. That being said, there are unhealthy ways to engage with video games too. Um, so how might I address escaping them? Yeah, I've seen my health improve significantly, like my mental health and probably also my physical health. Um, Quitting most video games for a number of reasons. Now I see my friends in person. We used to mostly hang out on Discord playing League. Not doing that, we have to hang out in person, and that's fantastic. So there's that. I would say if you have the opportunity to hang out with your friends in person, even a little bit, scheduling like a weekly hangout, for example, that will help you spend less time. What I think is useful. There we go. Good phrasing. I was about to say what I think you should do. It's like I don't feel right to tell you what you should or ought to do. But what I think is useful is addressing what need the thing, in this case video games, serves for you. For me, it was social, primarily social. And so when I had shifted my social needs to an in person format, all of a sudden, I didn't need to game as much because that need was met elsewhere. So, if, for example, you game socially, if you have a friend group that you can hang out with in person, that would be great. If not, maybe pick up like Magic the Gathering or the new Riot card game I've picked up. Super fun. Go to your local game store and play Friday Night Magic or something. That way, like you're playing games, but you're doing it socially in an environment that's not in front of your screen and all of that, and that's very helpful. Um, so yeah, that would be my advice on that. The niche is nerdy. Indeed, it is. You want to talk daylight savings? Since the clocks changed, it's now pitch black at 4 p.m. in Scotland. It's pitch black here in Toronto at 4 p.m. too. In a few weeks, it'll be pitch black at 3 p.m. Okay, it never gets that bad here. Scottish winter is something else. Yeah. See, like Torontonians will complain about winter, like, oh, Canadian winter is so bad. We barely have it as bad as New York. Like in Quebec, that's a winter. But here in Toronto, the like southernmost part of Canada, oh come on, our winters aren't that bad. I would not pit Toronto winter against Scottish winter. Never. Generalist channels don't succeed, then how the heck did Tom Scott succeed? I don't know who that is, but I agree with you. Like, I think you have to have a core. I think you have to have a core. And then you can just do whatever you want, right? Especially if you've already spent some time making a name for yourself. So if you have a core that you're really good at, then you can branch out because the interest stops being your guidance on a particular topic on which you have authority. And it starts being like, this community is great and we all like to hang out and vibe, which like is kind of happening here. Maybe a little early, but maybe that's because I don't have much of an expertise. So do you use AI assisted code editor? I like the irony of using closed LLMs to write my own self-hosted solutions. I vibe code a little now and then. It's interesting to me. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I have thoughts. If you can handle a Taoist downer story and like Silksong or Hollow Knight, go play Nine Souls. Ooh, I'll take a look. Am I the only one who thinks that like the 2010s tech in general and also games had special vibe to them? Like vibe of progress, blessed right, bright future and stuff. Yeah. That was the last time I was excited about new things in tech coming out. I don't feel excited about new things in tech coming out. No, that's not true. I don't feel excited about new things in tech coming out that aren't open source. When a new closed source thing comes out, I just think about how it's going to find a way to like steal my attention and data. That's all I can think about. When new open source stuff comes out, I'm excited. Gamifying live is an interesting concept as well. Like a RuneScape interface, but then for our own quests and treasures and connections seems something fun to strive for personally. I think that can work. I'm wary of gamification because, like, it's easy to start optimizing for the metric instead of the actual goal. And then you're like the metric is no longer a measurement of your progress towards the goal. What's a good example of this? I think the books thing is a good one. I want to read 50 books this year. And so to achieve the goal of 50, I pick small books, small, easy to read books to hit 50. It's like, well, why did I want to read 50 books? Well, really what I wanted to do was read more and understand more stuff and learn. But if I read 50 short, easy to read books, did I understand more? Like, did I really achieve the goal? That's kind of how I think about it. But I do think it is an interesting concept. I'm just wary of that one aspect of it. Often I will express my concerns or wariness of a concept or a topic. That does not mean I'm strictly against it. I want that to be clear. Especially if you say something and I immediately jump to my like contrarian stance. I don't want you to think that that means I'm shutting it down or I think it's a bad idea. That's a mistake on my communication, right? Which is why I'm taking the time to say this now. Um, so yeah, just as a quick aside. 577 says, Nathan, have you used VimWiki extensively? I started using it today and it's incredibly refreshing. I can already tell this is how I ditch Notion and other apps. Yes, I loved VimWiki. I switched off of it because I didn't need some amount of those features, and I found that like you can just use default Vim features in Markdown to achieve what I want. But I really liked VimWiki. I think it's really like that's great software. I'm glad that it's being talked about because I loved it. I was using it a lot in undergrad, and it's how it was. Actually, I was using it before Notion, and then I got convinced to switch to Notion because a bunch of the teams I was working on were already on Notion. And so I was like, well, I can just use Notion for everything then. See that? I can use Notion for everything. It's the workspace for everything app. Anyways, tabletop RPGs. Yes, I have been trying to get a D&D gang together for months. I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons one time. I've never had the chance to play. And my dad is like he played Dungeons and Dragons all throughout his high school years. And I'm like, I just want to play D&D one time. I want to know what it's like. Ugh. Anyways. It's a tool, not throwing your brain over the fence. Yes. Pixon says, one specific problem I have been having with video games is using them to suppress anxiety or other emotions. It's tough sometimes. Yes. Anything that is like flow inducing can be used to suppress your emotions. This is a conclusion I've come to. Everyone has rich internal emotional experiences, right? That's right. And everybody has what's the word? Has an inclination. No, that's not it. Everybody has that sense, that desire to escape from difficult feelings. That's natural, right? But and you can use just about anything to do that. So I try not to vilify a particular thing, right? Because they'll say like, "Oh, video games are escapism." I was like, you could read fiction as escapism. You could drink as escapism. You could be a rock climber as escapism. Like there are ways to escape your emotions in any capacity, in anything that you do. The So I try not to vilify a particular thing. That being said, like if you are struggling with video games as the way that you do it, then it may be beneficial to, you know, find ways to sit with your thoughts or put the video games away so that you can sit with your thoughts. My point being, I think one must cultivate a practice of sitting with one's own thoughts and feelings, regardless of how difficult they are, and regardless of what their coping mechanisms might be. I think that's my thought. Olama is awesome. It's pretty cool. Oh, this is, yes, there we go. I can find my words. Did you read The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, says Gordon Blasco. She goes pretty far with her claims, wondering, The Age of Surveillance, I haven't, but that sounds like a must read. The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. I'm just going to note this down. That's my next book. Okay. Thank you, Gordon. That sounds like a fantastic book. Goal setting is one of the hardest tasks. Yeah. Duolingo for terrible gamification to learn languages. Yes, I can't use Duolingo. It just makes me angry. Good vibes here, man. Hell yeah. I thought in gamification it could make boring, important things more interesting. Don't worry about your communication. Yes, gamification can absolutely be used that way, and it is a lot. It's one of the best ways to use it. We just need to be careful. There's a lot of interesting discussion of that in human-computer interaction research. Very cool stuff. What else we got? I've started doing the NeoVim tutorial. Hell yeah. Pro tip, Nathan, try Pathfinder. It's basically a fork of D&D. Yes, we were going to do a Pathfinder campaign. Cuz Hasbro has enshittified Wizards of the Coast to no end. And so I'm kind of like, it's tragic. Okay, here's one of my nerd asides. Um I love I loved playing modern Magic the Gathering. Modern is a specific format, and if you're not familiar, Magic the Gathering is a card game. It's like the card game. I loved it. I got priced out of playing the game. It's just too expensive. And then like this Magic had one of the most interesting, beautiful art styles, creative directions. It was phenomenal. I love the universes of Magic the Gathering. And then they released like a Doctor Who Spider-Man set and a bunch of that. Like it's all just why don't we make our IP actually every IP ever at the same time, which is what everybody's doing. And so like you just get this like blob of gray. Everything is everything all at once. And I despise it. I try not to hate things, but that is one of those things that I despise. Like, here's a thing. I think League of Legends and Riot Games make really good games. I can't play more League of Legends. Like, it's not. I shouldn't. It's not good for me in particular. If I had a lot of time, I would love to invest the time into getting good at League. I think that's super fun, but playing it casually is not fun for me. But one of the things I admire about Riot Games is they take their IP seriously. They're like, yes, we have a universe. It's our universe. We don't mix in random other universes into our universe. We have a creative direction. It's consistent, coherent. It's good. Like, I really deeply admire that. When like you can play Call of Duty and get shot by Sabrina Carpenter. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, anyways, will this VOD be published later? Yes, it will. What else we got? Pro tip: yes, D&D itself is also very cool and fun, and took me years before I found a group. Play other things too. Playing only D&D is like drinking only Mr. Pibb and saying you hate all soft drinks. I've DM'd a bunch and would be happy to run something for people on the Discord. Ooh, very cool. Chloe, I'd be down. I'm a newbie and lost my group a while ago. And to amend that point, many will need to first take steps slowly before being able to tolerate one's internal world. Yes, it does take time. It does take time and effort. Oh. Don't try Pathfinder first. I mean, I would adore to run Pathfinder for anyone who wants it, but D&D is much easier for beginners. Oh, I have heard the opposite, so that's interesting. Very cool. Okay. Hold on 1 second, gang. I'm going to go grab some water, and I'll be right back. Now, I know Plus isn't with us today. Which, is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Yes. I know Plus isn't with us today. However, we should still be using the AsciiQuarium be right back sign. Maybe I'll code in a be right back sign into the AsciiQuarium. That'd be tight. I would. That would be excellent. Excellent. Okay. So Pathfinder 2, D&D 5, Pathfinder 1, D&D 3.5 is roughly the difficulty order. Interesting. Okay. Back to the fancy cam. Okay. So we've done a lot of yapping. We've done a lot of yapping. I want to go over some stuff that the gang has been working on. So For those of you who don't know, we have this. I used to play Call of Cthulhu instead of D&D when we had time. Interesting. Why is this being slow to load? Sorry. It's tough on my throat to talk for so long. I don't know how like the streamers who stream for like 8 hours do this. Um okay. So, yes, for those of you who don't know, this is our little GitHub organization. And we're building some things. We're building some things. Primarily, so far we have two projects. There's the Wiki, which actually has a little digital minimalism.wiki. We might need to change the name of that, to be honest, because I'm a little worried about infringing upon Cal Newport's digital minimalism name. I don't want to be, you know, yoinking that. Especially if we're using phrases like copyright. Like, I don't think we have a copyright. But anyways, we're building the wiki, and the intention of this. Okay, Nathan, slow down. Stop clicking everywhere and disorienting everybody. Let's jump over here. The point of this is to be a wiki and set of tutorials for escaping the attention economy as well as escaping sort of digital surveillance-y stuff. And a lot of people have brought up Louis Rossman's. Is it Louis or Louis? I'm not sure. I'm going to go with Louis for now. Apologies if that's wrong. Like he's ever going to see the video. Right? But the goal would be that. So we've got this little guy up and running. It exists. It's currently not got a lot of stuff, but it is open to pull requests. We've got two. We'll review those today, just as a way to hang out, have fun, participate, and yeah. But I would like to invite any of you who have advice, interests in, have found a cool tool or something like that to improve your digital minimalism in one way or another, or would like to write tutorials and stuff on self-hosting specific things, to contribute to this. It's very much in its nascent days, as you can see, right? But it's cool. I'm excited to sort of work on this as a community. I will start adding some stuff to it soon myself. Soon, TM, I think. What else we got? You're correct on Louis. Okay. I'm not familiar with GURPS. Oh, this is so cool. Yes. So this needs some work, but it's in its early days. And then if we jump over here to the Discord, under organizing, you'll see we have contribution general, right? Which is just for organizing ourselves. And then we've got one for different things. So the Wiki gang has been making pretty good progress. They got the site up, which is tight. Very exciting about that. And then we also have cohorts. So I'm going to talk about cohorts right now. But yes, Wiki is en route. Another project that Nick and I have been working on and hope to launch is the 30-day cohorts web app. So as I was saying at the beginning of this stream, the 30-day cohorts went really well for the handful of people who had the right cocktail of environment and motivation and all of these things to finish it. And so what I wanted to do is build something that scaffolds the 30-day cohort process a little bit more. It still needs a lot of work, but it's coming along. This is going to be fully open source, fully self-hostable, all that jazz, but we will also be running a managed version that has like a small cost with it. But let's see, do I have it here? It's projects, 30-day cohorts. Let's do a little git pull. And then I think I can do a docker compose up-d. and we're just going to take a look at this together because I think there's some coolness happening. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. We might spend some time today doing it if I have the energy. I might also just chill here and yap with you all for 2 hours or something. But yeah. My own hair was in my coffee. Awesome. Is it this one? Okay. So this is basically what we're building out. Um, you can join a cohort. There's like a whole login and create account process and all of that jazz. And what it'll do is just assign you tasks. I'm not a coder. I'm a video editor and artist, but this is cool as fuck. Glad that you find it cool. But yes, so basically, if I log in here, and I think it's just, I think I have a cohort already. Oh, this is the sort of like payment process. I guess I haven't. I think I can do this. Okay. I haven't yet signed up for the next cohort. Can I do admin? Yes. Sweet. And I can go to cohorts. I think I can create a non-paid cohort. That was one of the things. Test two. Now let's give it a name. Yes, perfect. Test unpaid. Start date. What is today? Loved Magic the Gathering. Too expensive though. Yes, same. Nathan is being a cool hacker right now. Does anybody know the date today? Okay, it's the 13th of November. Okay, great. End date, whatever. We'll do this. Is active, is paid. So we have these things set, pricing for a cohort, so that if you self-host, or if we want to run a free cohort that's like in conjunction with a scientific study or something like that, we can do that. Pretty sweet. So we're going to set this to is paid no. And then we're going to save this. So now we've got test unpaid as a cohort running. I'm going to pop back here. Log out. Let's log back in. See how this works. This is some code that I haven't yet worked with, so I don't know. Okay, I think right now it's just putting me up to the next cohort. So I might have to change this. Let's go ahead and take test and delete that. Yes, I'm sure. And then now, haha, I'm in a cohort. This is nice. So this is pretty cool. So you get in. It tells you about the cohort, how it starts, when it ends, and then what happens next. So you'll have a dashboard which gives you tasks for the day. So you know how to participate, how to enact the cohort. We have opt-in, specifically opt-in email reminders. In an ideal world, you don't need the email reminders, and so they are very much opt-in for this reason. I don't want to be hooking your attention with attention economy things like email reminders. However, for some people that might be useful, so we built it in. Tells you the start date. If you go to dashboard, it shows you how many people are in the cohort with you and what your tasks are. You can check your past things, your past reflections. It walks you through the daily check-in process. This is all going to be updated and stuff like that. But you can do things like, how do you feel today? What's your satisfaction with your digital use? Talk how many minutes is your screen time today? Blah 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 blah. So it walks you through the daily process. It also walks you through a weekly process, an entry survey, basically the whole protocol for doing the 30-day cohort is scaffolded here. And then you also have profile settings. So here's some fun things. First off, again, fully opt-in, not opt-out for reminders. We caution you not to check your data except for specific times. But of course, your data is your data. So you can check it whenever the hell you want. We caution it because metrics can be a gamification thing. I don't want people participating in the cohort like eking out lower and lower screen time numbers for no reason or like competing with themselves in that sense. I want them to, engage with this meaningfully. And so there's a small thing. You can, of course, export your data. You can delete your account, and that hard deletes from your database. This is not one of those fake deletes. We're trying our best to be fully GDPR compliant and all of that so that your data is yours. And then, of course, once again, as we were saying, by the way, Nick, if you're still watching, this is great. You've done a phenomenal job with some of the design on this. I'm loving this. I'm really excited. I'm gonna spend some more time building out the forms. I reinstalled. Hello. I've reinstalled Zotero, which is my like academic citations management, and we'll talk about my Linux stuff later. Um, so sorry, this is a mess. Where would that be? Ah, yes. Distraction. Anyways, I'm going to go through a number of these old papers that I've read to design the best sort of data collection in the sense that we would like to scientifically, statistically validate that there has been positive change in the way that you interact and feel about your interaction with digital overuse, not marketing data, right? That's that's not how this data is going to be used. So yes, going to be looking through a whole bunch of stuff here. It's going to be fun to build out these surveys. Like the entry survey is going to be a lot more extensive and based on other things. Is there a confirm button for the delete just in case? Let's find out. There might not. All right, so here's my account. Wait, actually, I have another account that I can use. Login. Should be able to do this. Yes, yes. And then if I go profile. Okay, yes, there is a confirm. Good check, good check. So anyways, working on that, coming along. And yes, this is something, as I've mentioned before, I am working part-time. So this is something that where we're going to be charging if you use our the version that we are hosting. However, the costs will be like a fairly modest amount and then a pay what you want on top of that. And you can self-host and you can just like the materials. The protocol will also just be in the wiki, so you could follow along on paper and pencil. So there shouldn't be any sort of gatekeeping around the actual functionality. But yeah, that should be fun. What else we got? Same here. Is there a confirm button? If you want an alternative to GitHub that is based on open source project, you can look into Codeberg. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, about various alternatives to GitHub. In the end, we're on GitHub, at least for now, because the discoverability on GitHub is vastly better than alternatives. So, thinking about that. You could really use a setup wizard so people can be exposed to these settings and get a chance to set them. Hold on a minute. We're going to go projects, cohort 2.0 launch, add setup wizard for new admin users to configure a cohort. Yes. Excellent addition. NixOS gang, very cool. I don't know how to self-host, but I'm going to attempt to figure it out so I can try this. Awesome. Codeberg is a good alternative. I'll take a look. Not like Git isn't easy to move around if you need in the future. Nice. It's laundry day, baby. Hell yeah. I need an ultra muggle tutorial on self-hosting. I love that phrase. That is just one of the best sentences I've heard today. But yes. So We also think that this first cohort that we're going to run in December will just be will be free by default with a pay what you'd like as more as a donation mechanism and as a commitment device. This is something we were thinking about. Payment as a commitment device, like as a psychological thing that tells your brain, like, yes, I will be doing this because I paid for it, is actually pretty effective. And so I like the pay what you want thing as a way to make it so that people can pay what feels non-trivial to them as an effective commitment device. I think another cool option would be to run charity cohorts. So you can pay what you will, and that money goes straight to a charity. That could be really cool too. Or to funding like a particular person's research on the attention economy. Well, maybe I'll add that as a backlog. Could be cool. Add, or let's do feat charity slash donation cohorts. All proceeds go to a specific, all or some, potentially, all or some proceeds go to a specific cause. That could be cool. So yeah, been working away on this. I'll be completely honest. Most of my contribution to this was vibe coded. Um, Actually, I would love to spend a little time talking about the code because I haven't ever done like code on stream. So let's take a quick peek. Um, Basically, it's a Django app. It's a Django app that uses HTMX for the front end because I hate JavaScript. I wanted to avoid a build step as well. So we're using a couple of cool things, like scholarships for the Declutter program. You could also fund site use for people who can't afford it. Yes, 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 yes. Like scholarships for the Declutter program. Yeah. I was thinking about that too. Yeah. I think I let me add this in projects. I want to add each like discount codes for students and things. Students and financial um, for folks with need of financial support on this, something like that. Forgive my phrasing. I did my best to phrase that appropriately. Um, Interesting. So, anyways, yes, I would love to be able to like to run it such that like, oh, okay, yeah, the minimum is like $5 or whatever. But let's say you're a student, you want to run through the cohort, email me, I'll give you a code, that kind of thing. Hey, I just joined the live. Could you do a short summary of the project you were working on? Yeah, so we're just going over some of the projects of the whole of our community. So there's two right now. The first one is the Digital Minimalist Wiki, which is well underway. Good job, team. Who are our contributors? I would like to spend a little bit of time congratulating and thanking our contributors. So here's the gang who's been pushing code. I love this. I love simplification of code bases. Hell yeah, Blister. Getting rid of complexity, nice. But yes, so this is a wiki we're slowly developing that should inform people about self-hosting as well as ditching the attention economy. And you can actively participate if you would like. One of the nice things about the wiki is you don't have to have like a large technical background because a lot of it is just writing. And so we're going to review a pull request and take a look at that in a bit. On the other hand, is another project my friend Nick and I have been working on, which is a web app to support people through the 30-day cohorts. If you're new to the channel, the 30-day cohorts, we ran the first 30-day cohort when the attention economy video that this channel is founded on blew up. And it was highly successful for a handful of people, and then most people needed more scaffolding. And so we're building scaffolding. That's what the web app's for. Do you plan on making the wiki multilingual? I would like to. Uh, I'll add that in. I'll add that in as something that we should work on. I'm not sure yet. I mean, it's one of those things where if there are people who are willing to contribute who like their language translation skills, then we would happily invite it. Um, yeah. What is that called? Is it internationalization or something like that? Don't we have one more week? Yes, we have till the 16th. So it actually ends on Sunday, I think. Um, very exciting. I found it's been really good for me. I can help with Spanish. Hell yeah. I guess yeah, next live stream will be when it has concluded. So, I mean, I haven't how do I what do I want to say? I have felt disconnected from the cohort myself, which is a bad sign. Which is a bad sign that well, no, this is a sign that this needs more scaffolding. Because yeah, I don't know what the status of people working on it are. I don't know what's going on. I know some people are really enjoying it and talking about it in the Discord, and then there was also like 500 signups, and I don't know. I doubt we have 500 people actively trying right now. So interesting stuff. Um, translate to Italian, very cool. Yes, but yes, next live stream will be the live stream when it has officially ended, and I will be sending out like a feedback survey to hear how we can improve it and hopefully build some of that into this web app. Feet feature. It's going to be localization. Thank you. Yes, we have a very international audience. Yes, blank issue. Cool. So it would be highly beneficial, I think, to support multiple languages. Okay, let's take a look. I saw a question about MediaWiki. I didn't participate very much in the tech choice. I sort of went. Honestly, the most important thing is the content. Like it's a static site. Um, it shouldn't be. I like. There's a bazillion ways to make a static site, and like probably most of them are right. So I didn't think too much about it, and I just went with whatever the gang wants to work with, whatever would be most enjoyable for them, is the right choice. So yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Colo. That would be fantastic. If you would love to contribute, then you are more than welcome to. What's the URL of the GitHub repo? Let me drop it here. Let's go grab it. Nope, that's the web repositories, wiki, boom. Okay. Me and my partner stopped meeting, but I've been doing a limited version of it where I'm mostly being mindful and making slow progress. I'll likely do the cohort several times until it's where I want. That's what I figured would happen. This is something Nick and I have been talking about. It's like, I get the feeling people will run the cohorts like multiple times. Because like 30 days is like, it's not enough to make, like, it can be if you nail it somehow. But like, these things creep back into our lives. And so every now and then it'll just be nice. Kind of like the purpose that Lent serves if you're Christian. Like I myself am not Christian, but I have a fascination with like religious rituals and what purpose they might serve for people's lives, right? Like again, an aside, like I view saying grace at the dinner table as a communal gratitude practice. That seems to me very healthy, right? Or at least it can be very conducive to mental health, right? I view like a nightly prayer as the kind of thing that would foster a sort of like directedness and self knowledge about what one's goals are. And Lent is another interesting practice where you like experiment with giving something up and what that would feel like. Um, and so I view the digital cohorts as serving a similar as scaffolding a similar experiment of giving something up and seeing what it would be like. So yeah, yeah, there is some like diet adjacentness to it. Yo, good to finally tune into one of these. Hello, hello, OC Wilson. How's it going? But yeah, so that's kind of how I think about it. I imagine people will go through these a couple of times. Um, cool. That's an interesting approach. Adding, I mean, it's it's a lot easier not to do things that you find wasteful of your time when you have other things that you are like more eager and excited about and find more meaningful. Hey dude, how do I join the next one? Sorry, this has probably been answered. No problem at all. Never apologize for asking a question here. That's always fine. Um, Excellent question. How do I get the next sign up? I haven't, because we haven't launched the web app yet. Mm. You know what? We'll use the old sign up form for now, and then I'll just send it out again to everybody and be like, hey, we're running the second cohort. If the first one didn't work for you, feel free to sign up. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead. Where's the shareable link? Copy responder link. Copy. Yes. So if you sign up here, I'll send an email to everybody on this list and be like, hey, we're running the second cohorts. Here's the link to the web app once we get it up, and then you can participate that way. Okay. Now, back to some code. So this is pretty fun. Can't wait. When is it going to be starting? I think we'll be starting December 1st. Um, yeah, so my master plan, my master plan is to run the December cohort for free as an experiment of the web app to see how it works and all of that jazz. Um, hmm. So yeah, and then we'll run it again in January, and that'll probably be the like launch. My friend and I took a spontaneous trip to Montana to see the Northern Lights this week, and I don't know if I'd have said yes if I hadn't been focusing on the cohort. That's fantastic. I'll be honest, I'm not sure the cohort format is good, but I've kept my mouth shut mostly because I don't have other answers, have good other answers as of yet. I mean, it could very well be that it's not the best approach. I've found value in it, and I think other people have, but everything has its downsides. Everything's going to have ways that it can be improved or alternative approaches that might work better for other people. So I'm open to the criticism if you feel like sharing at any point. If time is a constraint, maybe try a faster game like Mouse Ritter. Set it up including character sheets, was about 10 minutes. Ooh, okay. Could you quickly explain what the cohort is about? Sorry, I've just discovered you today and sorry, I'm having trouble speaking. Just discovered you today and haven't catched up on all the videos about digitalization. So basically the cohort is like a 30-day experiment with yourself to cut out a bunch of your digital use for that 30-day process to find out if there are other ways that you would prefer to be spending your time, but you haven't had the opportunity to really explore that yet. So, for example, I ran the cohort on myself, and I cut out YouTube and Netflix and TV and podcasts and a bunch of other stuff. Cut out. I significantly reduced them, and then also got rid of like Safari and the App Store on my iPhone and all sorts of stuff like that. And the reason I wanted to do this is to find out if there are other ways I'd prefer to spend my time. And it turns out once you get rid of these things for a long enough period of time, a lot of other things, at least in my experience, got better. It was a lot easier to spend my time doing things that I actually wanted to be doing. So I've been playing guitar more, I've been reading way more, I've been more calm, I've been going on more walks. It's been really nice. And so I will be leaving out a lot of the things that I cut during the 30-day sort of cohort process. I call them cohorts because we run them as a group together. We start at the same time. We run them for about 30 days, about 4 weeks. And that I think is important because like the communal aspect is valuable, I think. So yeah, very cool. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. That's basically what we're doing. I think it's been super valuable for me, and some others, and I hope that we can shape it to be valuable. The cohort has been super helpful, and I'll say as much if you send a survey. Ah, thank you. Which I suggest as a trained marketer. I will definitely be doing that. Yeah. We do something similar on another group I'm in called Persistent Bloom. It is oriented on art if you are into art. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I've been trying. So this is another thing. I think I'll join too. Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to see you there. Um, one of the things my girlfriend and I did recently was so we live in Toronto, and I've never engaged with visual arts at all. I've never found it emotionally moving. Which, and this is not me saying I think that visual arts are meaningless. This is me saying I have yet to cultivate an appreciation for them. So we went to the AGO, and now, which is the Art Gallery of Ontario, and we're now like we have like a year-long pass, and I'm slowly trying to discover what I find evokes emotion in me in visual arts, and it's been really cool. I found out I really like things that play with lighting, particularly photographs. I like dark, contrasty, shadowy black and white photos that really like are very dramatic looking. So that's cool. I18N, yes. It's been great to hang around again, but I got to head out. Have a lab about electrical filters tomorrow morning. All right. Well, thank you for dropping by, Pixon. Catch you in the next one. One thing that's been a bit less great from my view, having spent several years doing enterprise instruction, the cohorts need a leader figure. We can discuss more offstream if you want. Fair enough. Yeah. Enterprise and instruction. The cohorts need a leader figure. Yes, I think it would be interesting to discuss that. I don't know. Yeah, I would definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. I like photos and glass art primarily. Interesting. I haven't played around. I haven't. We didn't see any very much glass art in at the AGO. Oh, I also like some of the old kind of like Renaissance stuff. I think because I spent some time reading the Greeks, I was like, this is fun. Like I recognize some of the scenes and things like that, which is nice. All right. So let's explore this a little bit more because I want to take a look at this. So I'm a Python person, which which Sarah, I know that you have thoughts on Python. But I oh, is there a Discord community for this? There is. Let me grab that. Um what the? There we go. Uh what was I saying? I have many thoughts. Hell yeah. Big thinker. I found many of my sentences start with, I've thought a lot about that. Like when somebody brings up an idea to me, I'm like, yeah, no, I've thought a lot about that. And sometimes I worry. I'm like, do I sound like an asshole right now? But the truth is, I just spend a lot of time sitting around thinking about things, you know? So, yeah, no, I feel that. I have many thoughts too. Hmm. What's in our make file? Lint. Nice. Very cool. Did Nick make these? Maybe Claude made these. So yes, it's a Django app because I like Python. We're using a nice Py project toml because requirements.txt is dead. We've got a couple of other things. We're using UV as our build system, which is great. What else? We've got a nice Docker Compose for local development, but also hopefully makes our lives easier when we deploy this. probably just to a little VPS somewhere in the EU. And then um, these are all just templates. They're like HTMX. If you're not familiar with HTMX, I think it's very cool. Let me pop this over here, pop this over here, do this. HTMX is cool because it lets you do cool things without having to write JavaScript. Python and its environment are to be considered de facto vulnerabilities. Yeah, fair enough. But yes, I like HTMX because it lets you do basically AJAX calls and other things like that without having to write JavaScript. So we figured we would do HTMX to avoid having to write JavaScript and just write, we have our Python, we have our HTMX templates. We don't need to do any JavaScript, no build step. And that's nice. We're also, because I wanted to avoid Tailwind, despite it being super common, because it generally requires some kind of build step eventually, we're using Pico CSS and Shoestring. Shoelace, there it is, Shoelace, which uses what, web components? Kind of cool stuff. So we threw this together. It seems like a fun little tech stack, and seeing how it goes. So far, pretty well. Gotta go to the library. It was nice to hang out here. Hopefully I'll see you at the Discord. Catch you later. Thanks for dropping by. So this is what we've been building. Yes. I want to spend some time on it, but we'll get around. Web components, right? I like when I heard about web components, that sounded really cool to me. It just sounded like all of the usefulness of kind of like React components and being able to reuse components in this way without having to be tied down to React, right? Like this more globally useful set of tools. So I think that's really cool. Shoelace seems interesting to me. So yeah, there's that. Anyways, I want to take a look now. Where's all this stuff? What's going on here? I want to go close this. Right, we've got this. I'm gonna pop this back over here. Close this. Anyways, that's our code base. That's me closing that up. And I want to go over to the wiki and take a look at these pull requests. So actually, first I need to see what our build process is like. So what exactly happens? We have CI/CD. I hear set up CI/CD. Okay, how exactly does this work? Like, does this just run in a sort of GitHub runner or something like that? Like, if I make a change, will it just push? I'm kind of getting the feeling that it will. Yeah, seems like that. Yeah, okay. Well, let's see what a PR does if we merge it. So if I go, which one of these is first? 14, opened 2 weeks ago by the same fella. Editing the wiki. Before you submit a pull request, please make sure all tests passed. You have read the contributor's guideline. You have squashed your commits. Okay. Okay. So custom CSS. This might be a dumb question, but you said you wanted to avoid JS and it uses Node? Oh, this is for the wiki. For the cohorts, there's no requirements for Node. So we should be good on that front, I think. Yeah. For this, yeah, I didn't choose the tech stack for this, and I was happy to let people do what they will with it. If I were to write this with the 30-day cohorts web app with like the express purpose of building things with technologies that I think would be cool to learn, I'd probably go with Go. but I didn't want to take the time to learn Go. Have a good night. Thanks for dropping by. I think you missed. I missed that you switched projects. Yeah, fair enough. No worries. So yes, what do we have? Where are our files changed? Okay, yeah, nice. Tutorials, guides, that's fine. Uh, this file was deleted. Custom CSS. Okay, so we've changed a bunch of the colors. I avoid JS by using Dino. I've heard of Dino. What is... Isn't Dino like a Node equivalent? Yeah, right? It's a JavaScript runtime. How does that help you avoid JavaScript out of curiosity? Or is that sarcasm? What makes you want to learn Go? Go is used to write a lot of the things that I think are cool. And I have this having a background in both C and Python, Go feels like a middle ground that's kind of cool. I'm also it's TypeScript native. Ah, okay. Um, I also don't like TypeScript. I think I find the entirety of um, front endy things like I just it feels so overly complex. Like the whole notion of I don't know. A lot of it is skill diff. A lot of it is that I just got frustrated early on and then never learned deeper. But yeah. Um yeah. Do you feel like YouTube may one day punish you for the information you share? I think that seems unlikely. I don't think I'm like big enough for YouTube to care. You know what I mean? Yes, Go is the backbone of Kubernetes. It's also the backbone of Tailscales written in Go. There's a lot of cool things written in Go. It also sounds like a fun language to write. I've played with some Go in the past, but it looks like fun, except for if air not nil, constantly. Every line, if air not nil, if air not nil, if air not nil. But yes, anyways, cool. I would love to take a quick look at what this renders as before I merge it. Do we have? Yeah, we do. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab this. CD projects, git clone. When I worked at AWS, we were switching things over to Go, but I haven't heard much about it lately versus Rust and Zig. Yeah, so as I understand it, Go has like a garbage collector, which sets it apart from the Go has a garbage collector which sets it apart from Rust and Zig and C and C++, right? Like those all are manual memory management languages, and so they're like I consider them a step lower in the hierarchy, like closer to the metal. Go lets me write code without having to think too much about memory constantly, while also being a binary. Like I can just share a binary, unlike Python, which is nice. The general pattern of if error not nil or the like is part of writing good code in every language. If you learn nothing else, learn how a Rust result object works. Have you tried Clojure? I haven't. I don't spend a lot of time learning software development. Like I'm much more interested in learning Linuxy things and Linux sysadmin stuff. I just have some software background. Rust is deterministically managed, but to call it manual feels odd. Okay, fair. I feel like I would still cluster it closer to Zig, C, C++ than I would to Go, right? In terms of like how low level it is, insofar as that's a useful a useful concept. What major did you do at university? And what have you pushed to follow this attention economy topic? Fun question. Let's talk. So yeah, my undergrad was in computer science, um, not software engineering. There was a distinction. I still spent a lot of time writing code. Most of my undergrad was writing code. My master's was in computer science education. I was interested in teaching problem solving to undergrads, which led me down a rabbit hole of a lot of psychology and stuff. I did half a PhD, uh, essentially studying the attention economy. I was interested in interventions, like adaptive interventions for smartphone overuse, and that's where I got into the attention economy stuff. So that's how I ended up here. Philip says, Go is a lot of fun to write. The error not nil pattern looks bad, but leads you to having less errors and a better program. Yeah, like that. As much as it's funny to harp on error not nil, I feel like it probably goes away in your mind when you're writing Go, right? Like, just like, I don't know. It seems like a funny thing to harp on, but at the end of the day, you just get used to doing it. And you should also probably be thinking to yourself consistently, could this err? You know? So it doesn't seem ridiculous to me. I would seriously suggest you understand the idea of result responses. It's not hard before you write any more logic in any language. Okay, all right. I'll take a look. Um, of result responses. You know what? Let's do this. Rust result responses. Error handling with the result type. Is this what we're talking about? This is the deal? My dad's been learning Rust, so having something to talk to him about would be cool on this topic. Result TE is the type used for returning and propagating errors. It is an enum with the variance OK, representing success and containing a value, and error, representing error and containing an error value. Okay? That feels like very nice. Like, that feels like it would play very nice with standard out, standard error. You know what I mean? Like, that feels like it would play nice with an operating system. I'm just going to read quickly. Go feels like it's in the middle, almost in this weird place, but I think Rust also tries to occupy that space. That said, my career was in recruiting, so I really only understand this at a base level. Yeah. I'm not sure. I would imagine, like, in my head, Go is slightly higher level, but yeah, I don't know. I never dove into the Rust pit. Okay, so we have this is an enum, we have OK, and we have error. Functions return result whenever errors are expected and recoverable. And recoverable is kind of interesting. In the std crate, result is most prominently used for I/O. A simple function returning result might be defined and used like so. Okay, so we have parse version. Okay. And it returns a result. Version. Okay, I'm having trouble interpreting some of the syntax right now. Match header.get get here. None. So if there's nothing in the header at index 0, I guess, this is some kind of pointer, something along those lines, then we return an error. Otherwise, we return some. No, that's not right. If we have none, this is a match. If we have none, we return an error. If we have something, and it's this thing or this thing, then we return, we have OKs. If it's some and it's a weird sum, I guess this is other sums, then we return another error. Or we return an error with this value within it. There we go. And then we say let version equal parse version. And we're passing it 1, 2, 3, 4. We're okay with version 1 or 2. Okay. I'm not sure what the ampersand is doing here. I feel like my C background is lying to me about what the ampersand is doing. Match version. So we can say we get this value back, we match it. If it's okay, we print the thing. If it's not, if instead we got the error, we print this. That is elegant. I do like that. I do like the explicit handling, how explicit it is that something might err and that it must be handled. I like that. That is cool. Okay. Pattern matching on results is clear and straightforward for simple cases, but result comes with some convenience methods that make working with it more succinct. Okay. Let good results. Let good results. Results I32, I32. So, quick question. Oh, okay. Okay. So the okay option is an int. The error option is also an int. Cool. Equals okay 10. Bad result equals error 10. Good result dot is okay. That's awesome. And not good result does and not good result dot is error. That seems odd. Could you error and get okay at the same time? Why would you write a function that returns error and okay at the same time? Why would you do that? That seems weird. Let me think. Hey, Plus, how's it going? Good evening. Args by position. Don't know if I like them. They are prone to errors. Named args are so much nicer. Args by position. Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. Agreed. I read some Rust docs a few years ago, and if I recall correctly, the ampersand is different between Rust and C, but don't take my word for it. For someone new to Linux and coding, what are some good resources for getting started? I'm a professional musician, cool, who's gotten into Linux and home labbing and started using NixOS lately. New resources for new folks. I mean, if you're home labbing and on NixOS, you're not that new. Or at least you're not a noob. Like that's diving into some deep end stuff. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to recommend you. Maybe somebody in the chat will have something. Okay. So okay. So we can make assertions, which is cool. Map and map error consume the result and produce another. Okay. So we say good result is good result.map, syntax that's incomprehensible to me. Okay. Good results, assert equal good result, okay 11. So equal bad result, error 9. Map and map error consume the result and produce another. So we're saying something is just the thing plus 1. Whatever we get is just give me the thing plus 1 now. Is that what we're doing? And so okay, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. On a side note, if anyone gets a chance to watch Jurassic Park Remastered plus Atmos on a big screen, go for it. It's worth it. Oh, did you already watch? How was it? Mm. You know what? Okay. So the TS results ES library docs better and still get the idea. I mean, I'm getting some idea here that there are really like they've made good and bad results extremely explicit, and they must be handled appropriately. And I like that conceptually. Interesting. I've seen the question mark stuff. Can't get John Williams' still fantastic score out of my head. Nice. John Williams did write some incredible scores. Okay, so here we have this function which creates a file. And then we say, I guess we explicitly handle, we match early return on error. We match whatever this returns to error, return the error, so propagate it up, I guess. And if it's okay, F, and so file is mutable, and it can either be error or it can be F. Is that correct? Python is bad at types. I've been enjoying type hints lately. Python has become much better that way, but yeah. I'm very computer literate, just trying to learn Python and maybe Rust, like all the kiddies know. Yes. One of the reasons I didn't learn Rust was because it was so popular. And I have a kind of annoying contrarianness about me where I'm like, well, if it's super popular, nah. Match in Rust is an exhaustive switch on an enum. Okay. Match in Rust is an exhaustive switch. Mhm. Nice. If, and then we create an error. If let error e equals file write all this stuff. Return error e. If let error. I don't understand this if let error thing. What could that mean? What's wrong with using React? I mean, nothing truly. I personally don't like it. That's all. I'm not a React fan, but I find it annoying. But I guess there's nothing technically wrong with it. It's just not where my interests lie. I also think like React in like the computer science undergraduate space has become such a meme of like, oh, I'm gonna go learn React now. Like undergrads just go, oh, cool, yeah, I'm gonna be a web dev, so I'm gonna go learn React now. And React is like its own beast. There is a whole. You do not need React to make your blog. You just don't need that, right? And I kind of get frustrated with the fact that so many people start with React and feel that it's necessary, and to the point where they don't learn how to just host a static website. Like they don't know how HTML and CSS work, and they're writing React, or how to like, you know, just host that with like a with Nginx or something, and that just feels weird for me. If let is a pattern for getting a variable scoped to the if block. Okay, cool. Okay. I think my blog looks nice, and I set it up with no real coding. Yeah, like you don't need Next.js to make a static website. You know what's a static website? Like just HTML. HTML and CSS. Why do I need a build step? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's my thing. Okay, anyways, where were we? We cloned this repo. And we're going into the wiki. Do I have PNPM? Rust as a language is very concerned with scope, more so than almost anything else. I've heard about that. Hmm? I'm sorry, what? What do you mean? I'm not updating right now. That sounds like a terrible idea. Yeah, Nathan, update on stream. Hope it doesn't break anything. Should be fine. Maybe I can just run it back. Yeah, it was just mad for some reason. What is it? Just dash I at readme. How long have you been playing around with Rust? Is this like a recent fascination, or are you deep in the Rust sauce? Build steps are nice, so you don't have to copy past the layout. Okay, that's fair, but there are other ways to do that. Like with the cohorts web app, right? We just have templates. We have templating. I mean, yes, I guess technically there is a build step, but I don't need Node to do it, which makes me happy. Maybe I'm making arbitrary distinctions from misunderstanding, but yeah. Okay, so we've installed it. PNPM run start. Sweet. Like I did like using Astro. Well, I don't know if I would say I liked using Astro. I survived using Astro more than other things. I gotta jump. This has been great. Have a good stream. Thanks, Chloe. Catch you in the next one. Okay, so what do we want to do? I wanted to check out this pull request, right? I'm new with Rust. I'm new with all ComSci. I just switched over to Linux. That's exciting. Rust for me, I've been at it for a while. I'd still call myself novice. Ah, okay, fair enough. Very cool. Yes, I want to be on this customizing defaults. Oh, I guess let's do this. Let's shut this down. Um, wait, get branch. Oh, this is in draft. Okay. I guess I won't touch that. Is the other one ready? This is also in draft. Hmm. Okay, you know what? I still want to check it out. I wanted to get into Astro. What didn't you like about it? Uh Nothing in particular. I just don't like making websites. This is just not what's fun for me. Astro was very tolerable for somebody like me, so it was quite good. Okay, so there's a bunch of static images were taken out. This was done. Some stuff to the index. Some custom CSS was added, and then we removed more stuff. So a lot of removals. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to. I just want to see how it looks. So I'm I'm gonna call it ready for review and take a look. And do we have it set so that pull requests get a branch that I can take a look at? Because that would be useful so that I can pull this pull request down and take a look. Result basically is I have an object holding my return result. I must check if it is an error to get my value out, which forces me to handle errors as part of the main execution flow. Yes, that seems very cool, rather than the horror that is try catch, which is also yes. Yeah, yeah. Oh, try catch. I use Hugo for my sites, and I just found it not very fun. Yeah, kind of like that. I have a Linux machine for productivity, old laptop, but continue to run Windows on my main PC. What was this deciding factor to make Linux your main OS? I just find it fun. Also, Windows was pissing me off with Windowsiness. I just like every time Windows updates, I'm afraid it's going to break. That kind of stuff. I've been finding the Windows experience more and more insufferable. So Linux it is. There we go. Customizing defaults. Where are my branches? Cannot pull with rebase. You have unstaged changes. What changes? I've made no changes. Ugh. Okay, git restore. Okay. I need to fetch these branches, but I forget how to do that. TLDR get me? No. No. Where? Why am I not seeing my branches? This is bizarre. This is me being stupid for a second, guys. There we go. I'm being stupid. Is it? Am I stupid? There we go. All right. Finally got there. Where are we now? We have customizing default modes origin. Okay. Branch, custom fetch head, delivery based and updated. Okay. Sweet. Okay. This looks like it's still a work in progress. It's just obligations that I can't have my main PC be down for. Hmm. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I still have like a Windows boot for gaming. I haven't booted into it in a long time though, so we'll see. Maybe I'll finally ditch it. What branch is this? YouTube guide. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at that. Git switch YouTube guide. Is it this? Yeah. Okay. I'm working through a Linux book someone mentioned in the Discord. Me too. If LOL is what's keeping you on Windows, then you should swap to Linux fully tonight. League of Legends was what was keeping me on Windows for a long time. And it's just like when you've been playing League for a long time, it becomes it becomes how you socialize with your friends to a large degree, and that makes it really hard to quit. Okay, this is great. I mean, it's not marked as ready, so I don't want to merge anything, but this is already useful. Um, okay, cool. Destiny 2. Yeah, but that's the idea, right? It's these multiplayer games that just don't work well on Linux because of anti-cheat stuff. Um, it's it's tough. What else you got? So I'm pretty sure my PC would explode if I tried to dual boot it. I'm not familiar with Git switch. What does it do differently than Git checkout? That's a good question. Let's find out. Git switch versus Git checkout. I think Git checkout can also create a new branch, whereas Git switch just switches. I think that's it. After reading the documentation, it seems pretty much the same as Git checkout branch name. What is the difference? According to the documentation, its sole purpose is to split and clarify the two different uses of Git checkout. Git switch branch name can now be used to change branches. Git restore can be used to reset files to certain revisions, as git checkout dash dash path to file does. I didn't know you could use checkout that way. Because they choose not to work with Linux. Yeah, no, I mean that's true. It's just there you are, caught in the middle. What are you gonna do? Um, I got one of my closest friends into home labbing, so we've been going through it together. So less lol. That's awesome. Yeah, it is frustrating, right? Because one of the examples was Apex Legends worked on Linux, and it was great, right? Like any way to play Linux or any way to play games on Linux is fun and nice. And they walked it back because apparently too many people were cheating on Linux. Git switch is just easier in my brain. Yeah, I prefer switch as well, because it does one thing. It switches branches, so I like that. I thought the branchy nature of Linux made running something like an anti-cheat difficult. I I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that works. So I kind of like I try to reserve judgment, but yeah, I do not know. That is definitely at least the claim. So, anyways, I want to take a look through this contribution. YouTube. If you don't know where to start or just want to start actionable steps. Oh, this is cool. Nice. I like how this works. What do we got? So a couple of extensions. Does it work on Firefox or Chrome? I like that. If you can see the source code or not, I like that even more. It's great. Okay. I like this as just like, hey, be let's be very open about if something is open source or not, right? So we can take a look at leech block. And we can, one thing I might do is ask that we prioritize things that are open, because that means we can also contribute to them as a community. That'd be cool. Descriptions, uBlock origin, blocks ads. Although this improves the experience drastically, some creators on and off YouTube rely on ads to make ends meet. That's true. Hmm. Interesting. Very interesting warnings. Fair. Also, cool ideas for actionable steps. Alternative front ends. I don't know FreeTube. What's up with that? Hmm. With either local methods or by optionally utilizing the Invidious API. With many features similar to YouTube, FreeTube has become one of the best methods to watch YouTube privately on desktop. Huh. That's really cool. I didn't know about this. Is this like a self-host thing, or is this just an application you run on your machine? Hmm. To a certain extent, Linux doesn't want rootkit level anti-cheat. Microsoft wants to ditch it on Windows 2. Why replicate an error? Yeah, yeah. I mean, root like anti level kernel level anti cheat systems are just that's a weird idea to me. I don't like it, but I also don't value my Windows machine. So if rootkit my Windows machine, man, who cares? It is what it is. Low open source stuff. To be frank, if you use the Brave browser, you don't need those extensions for YouTube. It also has a mobile app. For some of them, for sure. But let me show you my YouTube. So I have. It's currently nope. This is fine. So with uninternet, I get this like very distractionless YouTube interface. That's not something like Brave or AdBlock does, right? It redesigns the interface to be less distracting, and I think that's fantastic. More than just blocking ads. Brave has many other problems. Yeah, that second camera angle looks so fire. Thank you. Yeah, that's the good camera. What do you think about the Fediverse with Mastodon, etc., and do you use it? Um, what do I think about the Fediverse? Whoa, sorry, I just accidentally scrolled a bunch. What do I think about the Fediverse? I think it's a cool idea. I haven't spent enough time thinking about it or learning about it yet, but I think it's cool. I think the idea of like, I mean, it's decentralized social media. It is a cool concept. That's the way that I understand it so far, which I admit is a very shallow understanding, but it seems cool. I tried Mastodon. I didn't find a community that I liked, and I also don't like Twitter as a concept. Like the idea of communicating through tweets doesn't appeal to me. Um, but that's not a knock on Mastodon or the technology of the Fediverse. So that's kind of all I've got so far. It does seem cool though. What do you think about no, PeerTube, NewTube, Odyssey, Web3 alternative? Okay, PeerTube and NewTube. Take a look at that. I personally am very hesitant of anything labeled Web3. That's been my experience. I haven't personally found much utility in crypto stuff, and I also don't like the moniker Web3. Um, but I'm interested in alternatives. Really, haven't experienced anything and been using it actively for the last month. Hmm. I also use Brave. I think I use Brave occasionally. I don't know much about it. Okay, let's take a look at this. VacuumTube is an unofficial wrapper of YouTube. YouTube Leanback, the console and smart TV version of YouTube. Oh, for the desktop with a built-in ad blocker and minor enhancements. It's kind of cool. It is not a custom client. YouTube Leanback is an official interface. This project simply encompasses it and makes it usable as a standalone desktop application. Huh. This is cool. I don't see, like, I don't personally have a need for it, but cool. The only argument I've heard to switch I have considered is to make Vim work on Firefox. I love I love Vimium. Oh, wait, I realize I'm not looking at my screen. Vimium is fun, and Vim bindings for everything make me happy. Easily enough, Brave, as a Chrome-based browser, had to drop Manifest v2. Ah, yes. Unfortunate. I love Web3 in concept. Definitely a hyperfixation of mine, but it's got a lot of problems, and the tech just isn't there yet. Fair enough. Okay, this seems interesting to me. If I use this, am I breaking YouTube terms of service? How does that work? I don't want to break YouTube terms of service on stream. Hmm. Wapped. What is wap? Oh, it's just apt. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So how does it work? FreeTube uses a built-in extractor to grab and serve data slash videos. The Invidious API can also optionally be used. FreeTube does not use any official APIs to obtain data. That seems like it breaks terms of service. While YouTube can still see your video requests, it can no longer track you using cookies or JavaScript. Your subscriptions, playlists, and history are stored locally on your computer and never sent out. Using a VPN is highly recommended to hide your IP while using FreeTube. I see. I don't see myself using this too much, but it does seem cool. This does seem like an interesting way to interact with YouTube. Yeah, definitely don't do that on stream. Yeah, probably not. But I'm glad it's in this wiki contribution. I think there are definitely people who will find value in this. I'll probably switch to Firefox once I am smooth enough with Vim. Nice. Yeah, why am I not using Firefox? I think just because Chromium was the default on the Omarchi install and I never took the time to switch it to Firefox. Okay, cool. One sec, chat. I'll be right back. In the meantime, let's do what we do when I'm not here. Boom. I think one thing we'll play around with today is maybe I'll fork this if I can find the code and then write a like be right back thing. Not Pearl. TBH, YouTube sometimes recognizes that I'm using an ad blocker and doesn't let me play any video. Yes, yes. That happens, and it is frustrating. Such blood and violence on screen. Okay. Let's look at ASCII Aquarium stuff and see if we can find something similar. I feel like we could very easily vibe code the change to add a be right back. You know what? Let's do that real quick. See how it goes. Oops. Just for funsies. Do I have cursor? Just quickly. Oh, look, it styles cursor. Well, that's a thing, I guess. Let's go ahead and do this. This is horribly styled, though. It's so flat, it's lost all meaning. Add. Let's see if this works. A be right back text background to the ASCII aquarium. What do I think about AI? So many thoughts. So many thoughts about AI. Okay, to be completely honest, and this is, I have nothing against the question. At some point, there's so much talk about AI, you can be fatigued about AI talk. What do I think about AI in coding? Sometimes it's useful. That's what I think. Sometimes it's useful, like when you want to make a quick change to something for funsies, but you don't want to learn how to write Perl today. You know, stuff like that. It was immensely useful when I was working with a bunch of researchers on projects that I didn't code. I don't have a lot of background on Next.js and things like that, but I needed to like learn how to Dockerize these applications and make a bunch of little fixes because they had designed them for local testing and not designed them to work well within like a Docker environment, let alone ECS. And so it helped me like map that out really quickly and sort of gain enough understanding of Next.js to get something working. There are times like I find if you're an expert in something, like if you're a good programmer, like genuinely a very good programmer who has quite a bit of experience in a code base, AI is going to be more a hindrance than anything else, most of the time. But in the I play a very generalist role where I have to be able to do a lot of things, and I don't have a lot of depth on many of those things, and AI is helpful. I also think that if you over rely on it, it's very easy to let it stunt your growth. And so those are my brief thoughts. Those are my brief thoughts. It is good for hashing out some of my ideas when I can't find a peer willing to spare the time. Yes, that too. It is good at like I use it to Socratic dialogue myself. Pretty good at that. Okay. Dude, how do I even run a Perl script? Holy, Perl's so old they just call them subroutines. That's hilarious. Okay. Anyways, that was an idea I was playing with earlier. We can talk about that some other time. Um, can I just schmod? Any odds? Can I just schmod it? Ooh. Okay, well, it didn't quite understand. Right back. It has a magic line, simply exec it. Nice. Oops, CD project ASCII. So not quite, eh? Yeah, yeah, definitely a chance to stunt your growth. Um, you just got to be careful not to let it rob you of learning experiences. In this case, like I don't mind letting it rob me of the learning experience of playing with a Perl script because I don't really want to learn Perl. That's okay. This is wild. Why did it generate this? Okay. I think I can just do add to chat. This does not spell BRB. Be right back. Fix, please. And then we'll go ahead and use Sonnet 4.5 and see if that manages to make ASCII art. Excellent. I think I'll just do this. Great. Let's keep file. Run that. Excellent. Excellent. Try Figlet for the ASCII art text and copy the output. Figlet. Do I have that? Oh, I see. So if I do this, nice. Okay. And so are you saying that I can just do in Perl, I can do like a call out like this? Really? You can just do that? You might need to escape the slash. Slash. What slash? What slash do I have here? Oh, wait, no, that's over here, which has been escaped. Let's do a quick thing. Well, that's not what I wanted. Um, so can you just make calls out to the shell like this? Let's see what it says. Let's go ahead and use Composer. Um, in Perl, can I make calls out to shell like this to use Figlet? Because that's kind of interesting. Let's do Perl call to shell. I think it was backticks for an exec. Is back syntax. Okay. There's system. Ah, okay, so you can use backticks for it. Very cool. Perl is angry bash in a lot of ways. That explains why Perl's so common. Hmm. This is cool. Okay, maybe I do want to learn a little Perl. Maybe this is kind of fun. It's been a long time since I just coded a little something for fun. Cause and I've forgotten how much fun that is. Oh, I think I rejected the change. In Perl, use backticks command or qx slash forward slash forward slash to capture command input. The code now checks if figlet is available, which figlet, calls figlet using figlet-c. Oh God, well, what have we done? So I should be able to do my BRB text equals this. Nope, this should have this. Be right back. Right? And then I don't need this. Are we semicolons? We're a semicolons language. Okay. And then we can just, well, that's cute. I like that a lot. Can we make it bigger? Does Figlet have a bigger? Help Figlet? What? Am I stupid? Hello, it's the other. There we go. Yeah, now I want to crack this open and actually look at this. Use term animation. Curses? We got curses? Oh my God, I'm getting throwbacks to C. Lord. New fish, new monster. If opt C, new fish. New fish equals 1. New monster equals 1. Huh. What is this my? Oops, that's not what I wanted. Perl doc command not found. Okay. Why don't I have docs? Perl doc command not found. Well, I'm just going to assume that I can yay Perl doc. C mentioned? C is God. I've got Perl. I've got Perl pod C pandoc. Perl doc? No? Perl doc not found. Okay. Interesting. Perl navigator. This is the only Perl? Perl that includes Perl critic? Sure, why not? Linter, formatter, I don't care too much. I don't know what that gets me. Okay. Perl doc. Okay, why don't I have Perl doc? Is that just not like what? Huh? Arch Wiki Perl doc? Why is that not showing up? Look up Perl documentation in pod format. Okay. This, like, I feel like I should not need, this should either be in the core or there's no way I need the AUR for this, right? I'm not crazy for thinking that. Yeah, core Perl. It's in core. Why don't I have Perl doc? Gang. Gang. Uh There's a reinstall maybe? That's weird. Am I crazy right now? Because basically, I just wanted to hover over this so I could figure out. I mean, I'm assuming my is just how we set variables and uh, some sort of container. What is this? Like a tuple? If only you could Nick shell yourself an answer. Hmm. Okay. LS. Is that L2? Or is that I2? 1, 2? I'm gonna guess L2. Oops. Nope. Wait. List of Figlet fonts. There's font file. Option required. Oh, okay. Hmm. To switch completely over to NixOS. I like Big I. I see. I see. Lots of fonts. Okay. What does that give me if I don't LS it? Just the yes. Okay, cool. Gives me the dir. How would you recommend actually knowing what any of these fonts mean? So I guess I would do figlet dash f, and then I would take this. Okay, I would do figlet. Can I do figlet dash I two? Because I want the working directory. Can I do this? Is this nonsense? Hey, not bad. That actually worked the way that I expected it to. I mean, it didn't work, but it but it like it worked, you know what I mean? Is it just not the FLC ones? There's an FLF one. Why didn't that work? Because it's dash F for font file, right? And then we're going, and then I just need to pick one. Huh. Why is it unable to open font file? Install OpenBSD. Oh God, guys. I had enough. I was scared enough by FreeBSD. Okay, anyways. For I in do echo, this is. All right, copy pasting the scripts. So we're just looping through all the available. Whoa. All the available fonts and then going for it. So if we do grab this, I don't know why I did it that way. Interesting. Some of the fonts worked, but some of them didn't. Wow. A lot of them didn't. Bash is mighty. That one's fun. Small, small. Let's see what that does. Cool. All right. I think that's our be right back screen. And then what would I do? Because this would be where? User bin. Do I have Figlet in here? Oops. Uh, yeah, it's in there. I wanted mine to print out the name in its own font. Nice. Oh no, that's this. I want. That's a little clearer. Big. We're gonna go with the slanted one. Seems fun. This one is illegible. uh, maybe we go with big. Is there a big slant? So if we do ls biglet dash I2, there's small slant and there's big. Okay. Well, we can do quite big. Oh, I like the slanted one. Oops. I started using Tmux stuff. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Very fun. Okay, so now I have that one there. What would be a reasonable thing to do? I mean, I have this, yay, what is it? Remove ASCII aquarium. And then, would it be nuts to just symlink this into the user bin? Right? Is that nuts? I have a feeling it might be like a bad practice to symlink something from home into bin. But I figured I would check with you all first. And what's the order again? Path to new file, path to symlink. Symbolic, path to file or directory, path to symlink. So if I do, you could do that. You could also add it to your path. I suppose I could. I'm not, I don't like projects being in path. I don't know why. Move to user local bin would be my thing. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll just copy it. I'll just copy it over. I probably need to sudo that. ASCII aquarium to slash user slash local slash bin. What's in user local bin? Not a lot. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, I never actually ran that command. Cool. And do I need to? Does that reload my path? I feel like it will, right? So now I can do, should be able to do this. Tight. Well, that's fun. It's just goofy and fun. Okay. What an odd stream this has been. I mean, it's been fun, but what a strange little stream. So now, oh, you know what would be even more fun? Let's go. Let's go ahead and do a. Wait, do I have? How do I list my background processes? I was reading about this earlier. Here. I've started my Linux reading, bouncing all over. Yeah. Um, no, not permissions. This jobs. Yes, I do. Okay, let's properly close that. PS dash. Yes, I was looking specifically for just processes I've backgrounded in this shell, so that's why I wanted to use jobs. Took an arc turn to Perl when I showed up. A dark turn. It's been fun. Maybe I'll futz around with some Perl in the future. Um, okay, now what? Yes, I know what I wanted to do. Alias, br. What the fuck is? Excuse me, sorry. What is that alias? Um, Not backticks. Uh, ASCII. Sorry. Do I need that in backticks? I don't think so. Source. Nice. That makes me happy. No worries. I so I finally started. I'm very happy about this because I like there. This is why I like reading the book on things because I remembered. Oh, I remember that thing from the book, and I can cite it and sort of go through. So I've started my work towards the Linux Foundation stuff. I'm slowly working towards starting up a stream, a second stream to work on this. In my DB, I have LFCS. I have my notes. Um, I don't want to go through the study guide. That's not what I meant to do. Oh, that didn't work as expected. And then I grab here. Yeah, and then I grab here. Okay, cool. I want to do a second stream. I don't know if I have the energy for it. Just to go through all of this practice for the LFCS. Maybe I'll just do that on the main stream and we'll just practice about. Maybe that's what I'll do for the next little bit. We'll just be sort of because I've been not building things in the home lab lately, but I am actively working on this. So maybe that's what I'll do in the mainstream with these days and just sort of work through this, sort of review my notes, slow down, stop bopping around. You're going to give people a digital concussion with this. Go like reviewing my Linux readings and then going through some of this together. Could be a lot of fun. Yeah, because we've got VMs to work with. I'll probably set up like one of the mini PCs to just be good old Debian 13 and SSH into it from this because I don't want to practice on Arch and then do the test on Debian. And Debian is the operating system I'd like to be good at. Can I share the URL? Absolutely. Here you go. Yeah. Cool. Cool. How are we doing? I think maybe this will be the time I hop off. I think I'm losing steam. The sun has set behind me. I think it might be fine. I don't mind the chaos. This is fantastic. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. Before I sign off, I just want to give a couple of things, a couple of updates. Then once you've got a handle on Debian, Nix? Yes. This does feel like a reasonable trajectory, right? Because I feel like I can't properly appreciate NixOS without first having a level of mastery of and having to administrate a Linux system that's not declarative in the way that Nix is. Because like when Nix is a solution to a problem, but I don't fully grasp the problem yet. And so you can't like appreciate a solution to a problem you don't grasp. You haven't experienced. I mean, not that I've had some experience dealing with Debian servers, but not to that extent. Not to the like I have a multi-user environment that I'm administrating and dealing with. So this live was so cozy. I loved it. That's fantastic. Great. I'm glad people enjoyed. Proxmox backup servers also need. Finally got Proxmox in my home lab and better start making backups before you really need them. Yes, I would love to do that before my stuff explodes like it did when I didn't have a UPS. I would love to get on that. No problem. I'm glad you were all here. Yeah, I feel that a lot. Arch is what drove me to NixOS, honestly. I think that's Yeah, I will probably get to that point because I'm always coming up with little solutions to back up my dot files and things like that, and like automate them and use Ansible and like that. That's always interesting. Um, but Nix feels like a holistic solution to all of those things at once. So I don't. Yeah. I'll probably be there. Thanks for the fun stream. Ah, thank you for being part of it. It's been fun. Yes. Anyways, some quick status updates. I think. Um, Video tomorrow. Hopefully, I should be getting that out. I think I'll be focusing on the topic I wrote this week's newsletter on, which is that everyone should have a blog. Uh, I think that'll be fun. Yeah. So, like in my last video, a lot of people asked for tutorials on how to start a blog for various levels of techiness. So, I think I'll be making an argument about why the blog is a useful concept and thing to run and have in the attention economy, and then diving into some no technical background solutions, and then further and further into technical solutions. I won't be doing full on tutorials. Um, I don't really enjoy writing tutorials these days. It's not really where I'm at. I'd rather just like share a bunch of ideas and stuff, things I've been considering. So that's probably where I'll go. Uh, as for solutions, I'm interested in like Ghost, Substack, various WordPress things as like no code solutions. And then on the codier ends of things, I'll probably walk through like Astro templates and Hugo, um, GitHub pages, that kind of thing, as decent solutions to getting up and running quickly. And then I'll talk about Docker Compose for your blog plus Nginx and stuff. Should be fun. Okay. I've been playing with Terraform for a while. Nice. Terraform is fun. Terraform is fun. Borg is powered off now and waiting to become a cluster node. Its services are now on the Borg. I run PBS now inside the cluster. Cluster nodes are Roger and R1ger, named after Star Wars droids. Nice. Terraform can be used to configure / maintain GitHub repos, but it's licensed after version 1.6. OpenTofu is the open source Terraform. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. What's just Markdown? Blogs? Yeah. I mean, I write all my stuff in Markdown. So any blog that lets me do Markdown stuff is a happy day. Borg was the host name of my libvirt KVM install. Oh, that's fun. Okay, anyways, gang, it's been fun. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I will catch you again next week, and there shall be a video. So, bye for now. Wait. It ate your link. Are you not set to moderator right now? Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go, Sarah. You should be able to drop links now. Bye, friends.